Baker, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, man. Welcome back to America.
Yeah, yeah, Africa was awesome. My son shot six. He got six nice trophies, and Dad got to pull the trigger one time, so that was cool. But
Was that
he
his
had a
first
blast.
trip?
Yeah, that was his first time. Yeah,
There's nothing better than that. To go taking someone to Africa for the first time.
yeah,
Like I always tell the story, like the first day they're there, you're out with them. They're like, "Oh my God, what is that?" Like that's an impala.
uh-huh,
They're like, "Can I shoot that?" And you're like, "Yeah, but maybe we wait for a bigger impala."
yeah.
And the next day they've seen 400 impala, and they're like, "Okay, I get it now."
Oh yeah.
It's fantastic. We leave in 1 month from today. We're going to South Africa for a week, and then from there we're going to go to Zimbabwe for 2 weeks. We're going to do we got a coal hunt for springbuck,
Uh-huh.
and then we're going to shoot some kudu out of a helicopter. A buddy
So
of
a
mine,
call, like a call for those two, or what?
I don't know the Brady Knowlton, Corey Knowlton's brother.
Yeah.
They're Texas people. You guys are different. Y'all do things differently in the state. But he's got a
No,
buddy.
Brady was just in here yesterday.
Was he? Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's got a buddy that's got like 1,000,000 acres,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, we're gonna have a blast. We're doing all this stuff, and I was like, all right, we'll come. So, um, his son's gonna dart a rhino,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
should be interesting to participate in. And then in Zimbabwe, I've got elephant, hippo. I wrote it all down yesterday.
Croc? Are you doing croc or?
If there is a monstrous croc, I'll
Uh-huh.
I'll let it ride. But like if I got baboon, bushbuck, just because I love bushbuck,
Uh-huh.
cat, kudu because I love kudu, hyena. I've never shot a hyena, hippo, elephant. I got a grease buck and a clip springer, and I like those.
Okay.
'Cause those are two of the tiny 10.
Yeah. I've got a clip springer, obviously kudu. And then I did look at like an aquatics hunt one time.
What?
An aquatics hunt, so croc and hippo.
Uh-huh.
But that was in Zambia and I never pulled the trigger on it. It was super expensive. But yeah, elephant, wow. Have you been elephant hunting before?
I have not. So I turned 50 on August the 6th, and this will be like my 25th, I'm sorry, 20-year anniversary of going to Africa for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I had no interest in elephant until I was spend the night. Well, I was like on a trip with Don Jr. and Mike Scobie, and they were talking about elephant. This was like 3 or 4 years ago, and it just kind of stuck with me. Listening to him talk about it, I was like, yeah, I think I could do that. So I'm going to do a tuskless cow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And a tuskless cow, I told the guy, I was like, man, like I don't just want to like stroke a check and go shoot some big solitary bull. It's not what I'm not interested in that. I don't know anything about elephant. I want to experience elephant
Mm-hmm.
hunting and what it's like and the species. And he said, oh, you definitely want to do a tuskless cow because it's a specific animal from the herd. And they're old, they're mature, they're past the reproductive years, they're big. And he's like, you're going to walk 16 miles a day for 10 days. And by the end of it, you're going to know everything there is to know about elephants. And I'm like, all right, that's exactly what I want. So I
Huh.
remember I texted Melissa. I signed up for it at like DS or SCI,
Yeah.
DSC, Dallas Safari Club in Atlanta this year. And
Terrible show.
huh?
Terrible show.
Worst show I've ever been to in my life.
I mean, SCI is the title sponsor of this show, and I mean, no offense to Dallas Safari Club, they do great things too, but wow, just missed the mark. Moving it to the ATL was not, and all the exhibitors at SCI were like, "I'm not going back. I'm not going back.
No.
There's no way." He said they said there was nobody there. And I understand the weather was bad. That happens, sometimes, but
Listen,
nobody
man,
went.
the most people I saw on any day was 75 people.
Wow.
And who am I? Like, what do I know? But
Right.
let me tell you something. I've lived in Texas. I have a lot of friends in Texas. I'm talking to one right now. Texans don't leave the state of Texas for really any reason. Think about it. When do you guys leave your state?
To go
Very
hunting.
rarely. Never.
Hmm.
I
And
remember
I
I
don't
was
even have to do that. I could go to a high fence
yeah,
somewhere here if I wanted
dude,
to.
yeah, I did. I asked a buddy of mine years ago. I was like, "Hey, man, you should come to Africa with us." He's like, "Why would I do that?" I was like, "Because it's awesome." He's like, "I can go down the road and shoot a kudu," and I was like, "There's no point in having this conversation anymore because I'm dealing with a Texan. I'm not going to say an irrational person. I'm dealing with a Texan. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get them to leave their state." So,
Well, my message to those people is like, if money is no object and you can pay $15,000 to shoot a kudu in Texas, fine. But you could go to Africa and have an entire safari for $15,000 and shoot a kudu. So that's the difference, right? It's like,
you could have one hell of a trip for 15 grand, dude. Oh
yeah,
my God.
and shoot a kudu, and you basically shoot an animal every day, some nice animals too, and yeah,
Let's
you
hold on. Let's go. So for people listening, for $15,000, you're going to shoot a kudu. You're going to shoot a water buck. Okay. That's going to put you at like 4,500 bucks, we'll say.
mm-hmm.
You're going to shoot an
A warthog,
impala. You're going to shoot an impala, which is going to put you at 5K. You're
yeah,
going to shoot a Gims buck, 6,000. You're going to shoot a zebra. You're going to shoot a blessed buck. You're going to shoot a common diker. You're going to shoot a giraffe. And I'm still,
I helped drive the price of giraffe back up.
I'll shoot them. I'll shoot one every day. I would shoot a giraffe. If I could wake up every day and walk outside and shoot a giraffe, I would do. I'm dead serious. Wild hogs, giraffe.
uh,
Addicted. But like everything I just named, you're going to shoot a warthog,
yeah, warthog.
throw a bush pig in there. Um, let's see.
Yeah,
You're
you're
going to
about
hunt
it.
a
You're getting
baboon,
close to that list, the 15K,
baboon and a bush buck in there, and you're at 15 grand.
and that includes the flight and your gratuities. Like this isn't a crazy thing. Literally 15 grand, you can shoot 8 to 10 amazing trophies, and have a awesome safari.
Yeah, I think I took Melissa 2 years ago, and we shot 15 animals. They didn't charge her for her three because she shot a warthog that was legitimately 17,000 years old.
Oh well.
It's the oldest animal I've ever seen in that country. She shot a black springbuck that was something was wrong with it, and then she shot a black wildebeest, and
Uh,
they didn't charge her for hers. So, and then I shot 12 animals, and I think we spent 15 on tags. It
mhm.
was, and dude, I cleaned house over there. But yeah, DSC, man, like the whole point is to raise a bunch of money, and when you get Texans, those oil and gas dudes, in the state of Texas, surrounded by people that they know, in an auction, and some other dudes trying to big league them, that's when the prices go through the roofs.
Mhm.
And to take the Dallas Safari Club out of the state of Texas, it's one of the more insane things that I've ever heard of, like in our industry. Like, I think it's completely outrageous. It's like,
Yeah.
it'd be like SCI saying, you know what, we are not endorsing hunting in Africa. I mean, that's a great example. Wouldn't you agree with
Yeah.
that? Like,
Oh yeah, but Atlanta, I know why they chose it, and I just flew through Atlanta for the same reason because it's on the East Coast and it's a huge international airport. That's why they chose it. They thought everyone would be like, "Cool, Atlanta. That's one less flight." Atlanta sucks. It's crime ridden. It's dirty. Nobody. It's like New Orleans. Nobody wants to go there. But minus it doesn't have all the cool things that New Orleans does, and that's why SCI signed a 10-year deal to stay in Nashville because it's awesome and it's clean and you can walk around and not feel like
phenomenal
yeah,
municipal government, bachelorette capital of the world,
right.
bachelorette party capital of the world. And then Atlanta, it's like, why would anyone go to Atlanta? Like, what? Like, do people go there to visit? Like, I mean, you know,
No.
like I can't talk with these Invisalign in my mouth. But yeah, so it was disappointing. I feel really bad for the vendors. I talked to one dude. He's like, normally I've sold like 100 guns, by day
Mm-hmm.
afternoon of day into day two. He's like, we've sold six.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the outfitters, I mean, just dude, just ghost town, man. It was crazy. It was
Yeah.
completely insane. But like the whole point of Dallas Safari Club is that it's in Texas. Leave it there. Find another city in that big ass state that y'all have. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't want to see DSC fail, but
No.
they got to fix that. That's oof,
Hmm.
that was a
Yeah. But anyway,
big
so
screw up.
I signed up for that elephant
Elephant hunt.
hunt in with Dalton and York in um at DSC this year. I texted my wife. It was like, hey, we're going on an elephant hunt. And she just responded with an emoji. And like, I mean this from the
Was
bottom
it
of
a
my
good
soul.
emoji or bad emoji?
It was like a half confused, half terrified emoji. It
Oh,
got the point across. It's kind of like, well, what?
oh,
I will put my wife up against anyone that I know, their wife physically, like capable walking, hiking, rucking, carrying a backpack, lifting weights. Like my wife's owned a CrossFit gym for 15 years. She's incredibly fit, super tough. I totally forgot, Cable, that we were trying to get her set up to shoot a blue wildebeest like day two. And they were kind of trying to drive them in our direction. They dropped us off in a pasture field, whatever, and they rode off in the truck. And they were just trying to push this group of blue wildebeest up in our direction. And they took off running in our direction. And dude, it's blue wildebeest. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like I'm not whatever. I'll fight them all. And they cut a V around us and they ran around us. And I would say the closest any of them were to us was 50 yards. And we're talking maybe 100, 200 blue wildebeest.
uh,
And she was sitting down in front of me. I was like kind of kneeling right behind her so she could lean into my back to shoot. And she was literally terrified. And I just blew it off. And I was like, well, we missed that. They didn't stop. You didn't have a shot. Don't sweat it. And she's like, that's the most scared I've ever been in my life. We could have died. And I was like,
oh wow.
from blue wildebeest? What are you talking about? No. So I totally forgot. I didn't think about that. I didn't remember that. But she was asking about the elephant hunt, and I was like, yeah. I was like, we're gonna be like right in there with them, like every day, walking in and. Have you ever seen an elephant in the wild?
Yeah, in South Africa.
Yeah, I never have. I've
Uh-huh.
never seen an elephant, so I don't know anything about the species. Um, I'm excited. I really, really am. It's gonna be super cool. I don't know. It's just gonna be like a just this. I think this will be like my 12th trip to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I'm really really looking forward to this. Like we got really good, we got Comfort Select tickets, taken from Jayberg to um, taking a private plane to the place. Everything's like I don't know, man. It's just going to be awesome. I can't wait. Shooting. The only thing I've ever shot out of a helicopter, man, was pigs.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think the kudu is like the most amazing creature over there. Like it's by far and away.
Then you're doing them a disservice by gunning them down out of a chopper.
That's what I said. What was that? What was that ding
I
sound?
didn't hear it.
Oh,
I
something.
think kudu is the most amazing animal in Africa.
That's what I think. I was like, is it like a coal or like what's the deal? And he's like, they just have so many. Like you just
Yeah,
have,
so they're just calling them. Yeah,
yeah. But like, I mean, dude, I shot a ton of pigs out of a helicopter.
yeah,
I don't, that's what I don't want to tarnish that little thing, where I see a kudu, I'm like, oh my God, look at that thing. Because
yeah.
that's my reaction to kudu. The last trip, dude, I shot a kudu. Hold on a second. I don't know why this thing keeps going off in my ears. Oh, I have sound on my phone. I have hearing aids
Mm.
in, and we have like an Amber Alert that just popped off twice in my
Uh,
head, like deafening. Um, anyway, like I had my budget for the hunt and everything, and like I was like, all right, I hadn't seen a good kudu, hadn't really seen any kudu, and just shot like a whopper Leshway, which was like $3,000,
Yeah.
$2,900, and I had one bullet left, and we're driving back to camp. Like it's hunt's over, we're done, we're going back to the camp to have dinner the last night. We're leaving the next day. We turned this corner, dude, and there was a just 3 turns standing on the side, and I said, "That's a shooter." He goes, "Oh yeah, that's a shooter." And I looked at Dave and I went, "I have one bullet left." He goes, "Don't miss." Oh Lord. So like, I actually the 2,900 put me over my budget by like $400 because the kudu's like 2,500 there and the Leshway was
Yeah.
2,900. And I was like, I can't not shoot that. So I got out and actually put the shooting bags on the hood of the Land Cruiser. Hart shot it. It jumped. He goes, "Get in," and it rolled down into the creek bed with water and everything, and landed on a sandbar, literally directly in the middle of this creek bed. All we had to do was curl 2 legs under it for the perfect photo. Like it
Oh,
almost
nice.
landed like perfectly. It was fantastic, and that's how our last trip ended. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I love Africa. I can't wait to go. I'm so excited. We'll be over there 3 weeks. That's the longest I've ever been in Africa. So
Yeah.
I've done 2 weeks. I've never done 3, so I'm pretty stoked.
See, I've never even done two. All my trips have been with travel. It's a 7-day safari. You're in camp,
Mhm.
book in 9 days, and then you're traveling for a day and a half each way,
Yeah.
whatever. But I have, that was my 8th trip over there, and I've killed 4 kudu, but I hunt kudu every time, except this last time, taking Henry, who's 12, we went to this amazing kudu camp where I shot a big one last year,
Mhm.
and we hunted for one day, and I was like, Carl, like we're glassing. That's the thing. We're just glassing, 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 glassing.
Right.
I'm like, hey, this is my jam. I wanted him to shoot stuff. So he said, all right, we'll pack up in the morning and we'll go to another camp. So we did. And then that next day he shot 3 things and it was like, yes. So I forfeited my kudu quest on this trip, but it was all about him. So I was happy to do it.
There's something about a kudu. Um, it's hard to explain, man. It's like the bell of the ball. It's like imagine like being out with your younger days, your younger guy, younger years,
Mm-hmm.
before you're married, before you got kids, and you're full of testosterone, and the hottest girl you've ever seen walks
I
into
still
the
am
bar.
full of it.
Yeah, same here. Um, I'm just trying to sound like domesticated, but like the hottest girl in the world walks into a bar and smiles at you and makes eye contact with you and only you, and
Uh,
that's a kudu. Like there's just something about them,
mm,
the way they enter water holes, the way they enter clearings, the way they walked and conduct themselves. It's just like holy cow. And then it's also like there's so everything over there is just so camouflage, man. Like you
mm,
just like I remember I was over there in 2016. I took Logan Stark from Black Rifle with me.
mm-hmm.
And, I was like, oh wow, here come some zebras. They're walking in. We're sitting on like a massive pond, water hole. Like it's probably 300 yards long, a little lake or whatever you want to call it. And I'm watching them walk, and then they stopped, and I was like, where'd they go? They didn't move. They just quit walking, and I was watching them, and they stopped, and I was like, I can't see them anymore. It's just amazing how camouflage everything is. And there's
Yeah.
something about uh, kudu. It's just their camo is insane. Hold on one second. Let me plug this charger. Okay, got a low battery on the computer. Anyway,
So
we're excited.
you shot that last kudu off the hood of the truck. How many times has that actually happened on your safaris where you've jumped out of the truck and shot something? Because I think people think or have this idea that Africa is driving around on flat savanna land, and there are countries like that, but South Africa isn't like that. I
No,
mean, it's all spot and stock, and I can say, out of the 30 some odd animals I've shot over there, maybe more, might be a lot more. Only one time did we ever see something where the PH was like, "You need to shoot that," and it was a mountain reed buck, and he goes, "That's the biggest mountain reed buck I've ever seen." And I'm like, "What the heck is a mountain reed buck?" He's like, don't worry, it's $400. Shoot it. And I
We'll
was like,
figure it out when we get up to it.
yeah.
I've shot a red Leshway on that same trip off the truck. Todd shot an Impala years ago out of the back of a truck.
And I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that's not really how it
I
goes down.
No, so yeah, because like we were in the East Cape on that last trip,
Yeah, same.
and it's like being out in Utah. You know,
Mm.
it's super mountainous. I've shot in all my trips to Africa off the hood of a truck or from the truck, 4
Yeah,
animals.
like a handful of times.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of 3. I'm gonna throw in I'll throw in 2 more that I probably can't remember.
Uh-huh.
I know I've missed twice off the back of a truck.
Uh. So my cameraman said he hates going to other countries for planes game. And he said because all you do is drive around in the back of the truck and you shoot everything off the back of the truck and you just drive around for hours and hours and hours and your ass is sore by the end of the day. And so I've never experienced that. I mean, I don't even ride in the high rack. I ride in the cab with the PH. And
Oh
then
yeah,
we
I don't.
when we see something or maybe the tracker taps on the hood of the or the roof of the Land Cruiser and you get out and then you get the spotting scope. And then it's like, well, is it mature? Do we want to pursue that? And then it's, an hour, 2 hour stalk.
Yeah, I
Sometimes
don't.
you
It's the only time I ever ride in the back of the truck is when, um, like when we hunt at Sediba, Nikwe, which is a bow place, and like the trucks are packed, and we're taking a bunch of people to go put them out in blinds.
mm,
That's the only time I ride in the back of a truck. Like as far as like riding around and shooting stuff off the back of the truck, like no, I don't. I'm not familiar with that. I don't know anything about. Like,
yeah,
I ride in the cab, and
yeah.
like I'll hop out, glass something up, or oh, what is that? I'll hop out to throw binos up. But like, yeah, that's not hunting in Africa.
They said he said it was concession hunting when you're concession hunting in the flat savanna lands. It's all just drive around and shoot it out of the back of the truck. And it's all flat, so the animals can see you. So I get it. Like spot and stalk would be obviously infinitely more difficult as compared to the East Cape, where you and I both know is like, yeah, it's mountainous and there's trees everywhere and
Yeah,
thick cover, and that's why picking out a kudu with a spotting scope is so rewarding.
yeah, like
Or a
yeah,
bush buck.
yeah. I've not experienced. I've been to the
Mm.
Cape a couple times. Um, yeah,
Probably been to
never,
Limpopo.
yeah, Limpopo a lot. Yeah, but
Mm.
um, I don't know how. Like my experiences in Limpopo is like I don't know how you would ride around because it's like Texas brush country.
Right.
Like I don't know how you would ride around. Like you'll see stuff like off to the side, like darting around here and there, but like
Is
yeah,
Limpopo pretty flat, or is there elevation change?
dude,
Like the
Limpopo is like Texas, man. It's just the only difference between Limpopo and Texas is the dirt is more red in Africa.
mm.
And
So in Limpopo, are you like if there's no high vantage points to glass, like how are you? Are you sitting more at water holes? Like what is the strategy there?
water holes for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, water hole. We in Limpopo, like all the places we go over there, it's always bow hunting.
Uh,
We shoot everything with bows over there. I mean, I've shot stuff with a rifle there, but like that is a bow hunting mecca. You just sit on these great water holes and
uh,
just stuff starts pouring in, and you're just like, oh my God, what is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? It's so much fun.
I've shot one animal at a water hole in South Africa. That was an eland. I shot it with my bow.
Oh
It's a
wow,
big animal, and yeah, he ran about
dude.
50 yards and fell over dead.
I shot. See, that was not my experience last. I shot mine at 8,500 feet elevation in the East Cape, and or 6,500 feet elevation. Uh, Probably 20 minutes before sunset
Uh-huh.
on the Cowie, and dude, I'm as strong as I'd say top 1% of people on this planet. Um, and like you're not moving an eland. You can't. They're so big.
Oh yeah.
I shot mine 6 times with a 300 at first shot was at 500 yards. and you just can't. They're savage. They're monsters. They're brutes. Like you need a team of people to move it for a photo, and it was just me and Dave. And I looked at it
Right.
and I said, "We made him." I said, "Where's Melissa?" She was with Chris, the tracker Skinner, and she goes, "There they are over there." And I said, "How far is that?" He goes, 1.5K. And I was like, "Oh wow." I said, "How close are they going to be able to get to us?" He goes, he pointed to the bottom of the hill. He goes, "About 1.5K away." And I was like, "Oh wow." That was a night. That was a night getting that thing out of there. That was brutal. That was brutal.
I've gotten to move some even a kudu off the side of a mountain. Thankfully, they have a JCB at the Woodlands,
Mhm.
30,000 acres. Dude, they take that thing on the side of a mountain. They are not they're not cutting up an eland and hauling it 1.5K. I promise you that. Yeah,
It was brutal.
yeah,
It was a long night, but like it was. We were just so far away from everything. But yeah, it was worth it, man. I loved it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I can't wait to go back. And then my buddy Jeremy Starks, big wildlife guy, big whitetail guy. We're gonna go. um, we're gonna do the last week of October with him in West Virginia.
Mm.
I don't know anyone that is as obsessed with whitetails as he is. And then I've got like our farm in Georgia that I'm gonna hunt religiously this year, which I do every year. But yeah, as of right
Mm.
now, between now and the end of the year, I've got two. I'm not going to elk hunt this year. I didn't elk hunt last year. Um, so yeah, that's my schedule, and I'm sure I'll add stuff to it. I'll go to Texas and do an axis and a whitetail there. Um, but yeah, man, I'm looking forward to
Mm.
it.
Well, yeah, you'll have to jump back on and recap the elephant hunt. That's on the
Oh,
bucket list. Something
I've been
I've never
watching
done, and
that.
that one is so. And the reason why I haven't done it is it's so cost prohibitive. Like it's very expensive. You can go to Africa, like we said, and have an amazing safari for 15 grand. When you start talking about lions, leopards, and elephant, and of course rhino, but you can cheat the system by if you want your big five, which I've done. You can dart one, and that's what you said Brady's son is doing
Yeah,
as well. Yeah,
yeah,
but
dude.
the others, dude, they're I mean, whew, so expensive.
The hold on, I just lost the video of you, and I don't know where it went. Hold on one second. You just vanished off my screen.
You're really gonna make me do some editing on this thing.
Dude, I have absolutely no idea what just happened or where you are.
Just
I
close the
can't see
window.
you.
Eh,
Oh, wait a
I
minute.
can see you.
Zoom. Okay, okay. Some stupid
I
Microsoft.
have a text from like 30 minutes before we started that says "I hate technology" from Baker. By the way, so
Yeah, I
glad
can't
that
see
you're
it. All right, so I'm
embodying
back.
that.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened. It went away. Um, so a tuskless cow, dude, where I'm going, isn't isn't like it. What do you think a tuskless cow costs?
15 grand. Five? I'm in.
Well, hold on, and then you got your day rate. Day
Yeah.
rate's 950. So, but the tag on a tuskless cow is 5,500,
Uh,
and then the tag on the hippo is five also. Yeah, 500. Tuskless cow is 5 or 5,500. I don't remember.
and
So
the hippo's 5 grand.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a dry land hippo. So you get them in dry land
Hmm.
on their way back to water,
Okay.
which is way more dangerous. So I'm
Can
just
you export that?
yeah. The I'm gonna do a Euro mount on it,
Yeah.
which Ike Eastman has
I
a
see his whiskey back there. I've got the
oh yeah.
collection. Yeah.
Ike has a euro of a hippo skull in his office, and it is the coolest thing
Mm.
that I've ever seen in my life. It is the coolest hunting thing I've ever seen. And I saw that 4 or 5 years ago. I was like, I have to get one of those one day. So, like I said, I turned 50.
Yeah.
I've
Happy
normally,
birthday to you.
thank you.
Yeah.
I don't like when I go to Africa, dude, like I do plains game and have a blast and all that stuff. But this year I will be spending more than I normally do. So I can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, awesome. Look. One other thing that we've been talking about a lot is like Delta sucks now. Like I have hated American Airlines for the past probably, well, ever since COVID. Their customer service went to crap.
Mm.
You fly into a small town to go hunting, you get back to depart, you're back at the airport, turn in the rental car. I've had this happen to me 5 times. Flights canceled because there's only 2 flights going out that day, and the first one that I was on in the morning is never full, and they're like, "Oh, you were on the 10 a.m. Now you're on the 6 p.m." I'm like, "Okay, so that's the new standard for American." So I switched over to Delta recently. I was like, "I'm done with American. I'm flying Delta." Dude, our flight was supposed to leave for Atlanta from Dallas Love Field at 3 o'clock, and at about 1, maybe it's 12:30. We're getting ready to go. Text from Delta: your flight's canceled. Mechanical issue with the plane.
You're lucky that they told you it was canceled. What they normally do, what they've started doing now is saying it's delayed.
Yeah,
And then they give you another delay update 30 minutes later and
yeah.
another delay
So
update 30 minutes later. And it's just, I don't know how it's not illegal. It drives me completely insane. And the problem is that the technology is so efficient now with booking and logistics that they're using the planes too much. They're just overusing them, and they don't have enough pilots and crew, and they're always having to, land and haul ass. So if there's a delay on this one, it's going to cause this flight crew to be delayed. I was coming back from, I don't remember where I was coming back from, but I live north of Daytona, and so Atlanta to Daytona, it's an hour and 7 minute flight.
uh
We were short. I was coming back from DSC. We were short a flight attendant. There were three flight attendants and a pilot in line that said, "I will crew this flight. I just want to get home. I'm not over my hours. I'll be more than happy to be the flight attendant on this flight from Atlanta to Daytona."
oh wow.
And everyone's like, "Oh, hell yeah." The gate agent's like, "Oh, this is great." They had to get on the phone like with their union people, and they wouldn't let them. So they had to wait for another flight attendant to come in and land. And they finally found one like 2 hours later in the Delta lounge that was willing to do it. And it's just like,
Unbelievable.
you literally have 3 flight attendants standing here in line on the phone with like Delta, like, "Hey, I'm in line. I can do this." So
Yeah.
what's happening is they're using the planes too much. They're overusing their equipment, and it's just running everything into the ground. And the maintenance and all that stuff, it's a nightmare, man. Like the whole flying experience is, I cannot stand it. I despise it. You don't understand how much I hate it.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's the
So
worst, man.
what you said about them delaying. Okay, so we uh we ended up having to fly out of. We got on another flight out of DFW. I had
Hmm.
to call Delta because their website wouldn't let me change my itinerary because I was flying out of Love Field. So now I'm flying out of DFW. Thank God we got on this flight. Okay, so then we're sitting at a restaurant waiting, and we start getting the text: your flight's delayed, your flight's delayed, your flight. 3 hours, 8 texts, and 3 hours later, and my other buddy that was flying with Henry and I, he's like, dude, we're gonna miss our flight. And from our 9:55 p.m. flight from Atlanta to Johannesburg. And he's like, I'm trying to get on the 6 p.m. right now. So we finally we Henry and I run over there. They get us on the flight, and we are sprinting at the Atlanta airport to get to our international flight to Johannesburg. But all fine and good, except for that now Henry's bag doesn't make it. And it doesn't make it the next day. And it doesn't make it the next day. 5 days it took them to get Henry's bag from Atlanta. It was just sitting there in Atlanta to Johannesburg. Problem is, the kid's on his first safari. Luckily, there was a kid from North Texas who was leaving, and his dad knew my social media account. He was like, dude, don't worry. Henry can have all of George's clothes. We'll get them back from you in North Texas, no problem. But all of our ammunition was in the damn suitcase.
The thing, did they know? Did you tell them the ammo was in the suitcase?
Yes. but like, and they said your bag. I got a text. It was like your bag's on rush. It's being rushed. And then I would get another text the next day. Is like, and there's only the one flight from at 9:55 p.m. And if it doesn't get on that, it's not going to make it to Africa.
The thing that's interesting about that is like normally if there's something involving a firearm or ammo, they'll go butts over tea kettles to get that problem solved because they get real freaked out about firearms, guns, and ammo.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been like, yeah, there's a gun in that bag and it's missing. You guys need to find it and get it over here. And
Yeah,
it's just, yeah, it's so disappointing. The thing I really hate is super short connection windows,
yeah.
37 minutes, 42 minutes. Like, no, 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 no. You guys are going to screw this up. And I'm going to get there. I'm going to have 15. And then you got to take 15 off because they close the gate down. So a 37-minute connection window is really only 22 minutes. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, what are you guys doing? So they oversell every flight. They overbook every flight. And dude, it's just it's revolting. I want Congress to bring them to DC and just absolutely lambast them and light them up and just make
Yeah, but before COVID, it wasn't like that. You agree?
100%. Dude, life was different before COVID. So
Yeah.
now that we went through COVID and people were programmed not to work, customer service now is a commodity. You have to pay extra for customer service, where in years past, customer service was part of the plan. Like that was to be expected. Not anymore. It's
Mm-hmm.
super depressing. It's unfortunate, and it drives me crazy. And like flight attendants, it's like I'm not knocking anybody's job or career, but it's just like, hey man, you're a flight attendant. You don't get to tell me anything. I don't have to listen to you. You don't know there's really nothing on this planet that I think you know more than I do, and you don't have the life experience I do. So why
Wow,
are you
Baker's
like,
just besmirching flight attendants here.
if I was allowed to cuss on your show, it'd be a lot worse. But I know that whenever someone says a cuss word, you have to edit it out. Otherwise, I'd be going, I can't stand them. I despise that entire group of people. They're better now than they used to be, but like there was a window there, man, where they were just repulsive. And like I've got a bunch of buddies that are pilots for commercial airlines. They hate them. They
Huh.
can't stand them. Super entitled, think they're like God's, it's like you're not flying the plane, you're not landing the plane, you're not coordinating the logistics. Your job is just to,
Put the sugar in my coffee.
yeah, just give people water and like snacks and kind of occupy them with the food and beverage cart while we're in the air.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not a magical skill. Like you're not important. You're replaceable. You you can be replaced instantaneously. I could do your job with no training. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole and then like Atlanta, Hartsfield Air. Oh my God, dude, that segment of people that live and work up there, man. Like, there's just something about the employees of that airport. If you can screw up someone's Chick-fil-A experience, man, like what does that say about you? Like you're
Yeah.
just awful. So
Shots
we,
fired at the ATL.
yeah, dude, for sure. We have I think our layover in Atlanta is like 4 hours and 32 minutes, by design because of like what happened to you.
Dude, that's what ours was supposed to be. We were supposed to fly out at 3 and ended up flying out at 6:30 and almost missed our flight.
Yeah, see, I'm not risking that. I can't. I just can't.
But we had a 3.5, 4 hour layover. That's what I'm saying. We weren't really risking it. Do I need to spend the night in Atlanta now just to prevent this from happening?
I know, and it's something that used to never happen. Now it's normal. It's like, oh no, no,
3 or 4 hours, and you're still not like guaranteed you're
yeah.
going to make your flight. It's absurd.
The best
But
flights to take now are early in the morning because the plane usually overnights. If you're in a situation where you have to wait for the plane to come to where you are, that's when you start running into trouble because
yeah,
connection, like a plane can be going from Minneapolis to Connecticut and then from Connecticut to Atlanta, and there's a delay there, and it daisy chains, and the flight attendants miss, and there's a delay, and it's just, yeah, dude, it's a nightmare, man. I can't stand it. I don't, I can't.
so y'all fly to Africa. It's awesome. You should do it.
It's a long flight, man. Like like here's the deal. Save your Sky Miles, get an Amex, get a Delta Amex Sky Miles card, use it responsibly, save your miles, and use your miles to upgrade for, uh, you know,
Business class.
Delta Comfort, um, or Delta Select. The Delta One, those are like 16 grand. I'm not. No,
So
that's
here's an
hard.
interesting thing. When I think it was my fifth safari, my buddy Eric, who has more money than he knows what to do with,
Mhm.
he was like, "Hey, how much is your ticket? Are you flying economy?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a man of the people. I
Yeah,
fly in the back of the plane."
yeah.
And he's like, "Not this time." He's like, "You just pay what you would pay for that, and I'll upgrade you with my points." And we were flying on Qatar.
Oh,
Uh, yeah. And I was like, "Sweet." And the first class ticket was only $4,500. So it was only like 2,000 more. But so he used his Amex points. So that as soon as I got home, boom, got myself an Amex. And the next year I flew business class, first class again on Qatar. Okay, it was like this is my new system. I just get the points and then I just fly to Africa business class. And if you
yeah.
fly to Qatar on Qatar, it's 14-hour flight to the Middle East, and then it's a 9-hour flight to Johannesburg. The Atlanta flight on Delta cuts that out. It's just a 15-hour flight from Atlanta to Johannesburg. But I was like, okay, this is 22 hours in the plane, all in business class. You can lay down. Like, would you like caviar with your champagne before we take off? I'm like, I don't even know what to say to these people. This is way out of my
Yeah,
like.
I'm not. I've never flown on Qatar. I've always just taken that Delta DLO
Yeah,
200 flight, which leaves at night and 15
yeah.
hours, and you're super excited. You're there with your buddies or your friends, your son or your wife or whatever, and you're just like you're on cloud nine.
Yeah.
You get on the plane and like if you drink, you have a couple drinks, whatever. And then watch some TV, shoot the shit, read magazine, book, whatever, and then like you kind of get a little bit tired, and so I stay up for probably 4 hours, and then I take a half a sleeping pill.
Hmm.
And that usually knocks me out pretty good, and I'll sleep, and I'll normally wake up with like 3 hours left to go, and then you land, and it's 8 p.m., 7:40 p.m. Um, and you need to take, especially if you're going to overnight in Jayberg, you need to take like a half a sleeping pill at like 10 or 11 so you can kind of get on track, um,
Hmm.
sleeping wise. Because the worst thing in the world, man, is like oh my god, I'm so tired. You go to bed at like 9 and then you wake up at 1:45 and you're wide awake.
Oh
And
yeah.
sit there and you're just like, oh my god, what am I doing? So
We did. We stayed at the City Lodge in Joburg.
mhm,
Don't leave the airport. Stay right there.
mhm.
Hotel Intercontinentals, very expensive. It's like $400 or $500 a room, but City Lodge is right there, and it's $150, and it's nice. And especially if you're traveling with a firearm, you don't leave the airport hotel. Just don't leave.
No, no.
Um, but yeah, so we did that, and I slept okay in the hotel. But then the first night in camp, dude, I woke up at 2 a.m. and never went back to bed. It's like, well, I guess I'm up until 6.
Yeah, that's the
I'll just
worst, man.
scroll social media now, I guess.
My buddy Todd Ehrlich, who's like he was a SEAL, and he's the original founder of Kill Cliff. And Todd has 3 kids, and we went to Africa together, 2000 maybe 16,
Mm-hmm.
2017, 2018, something like that. And that dude slept from the time we took off until the time that flight landed.
Oh my gosh.
I've never seen anything, dude. I've never seen anything like it in my entire life.
Huh.
And so we're hunting in Limpopo, so you land and then you take like a 5 hour car ride up to the lodge because it's like 2 kilometers south of the Botswana border. It's
Mm-hmm.
all the way at the top of South Africa. And when you get there at like, dude, like 1 at 12 midnight, 1 in the morning, whatever, I am telling you, he went to bed and didn't wake up till 9 a.m. that first morning.
I don't understand.
Well, he's 3 kids.
I've got
He,
3 kids.
no, but it was like they were small at the time, peace,
Uh,
tranquility, quiet, like just no one bothering him. Like
uh,
I was like, dude, I've never seen a person sleep that much in my life. He goes, he's like, I don't know. Maybe it's like leftover sleep deprivation from buds or something, like he just
uh.
was catching up on a lifetime of sleep. But yeah, I've never seen anything like it. My wife can sleep. Melissa just zonks out, man. And like, I've never
Not
seen,
me. I
not,
slept 2.5 hours on the way there, while my son slept 10. And then on the way back, I did sleep. I did take a sleeping aid, and I slept for like 5.5 hours, which I was like, oh, thank God. I woke up and I was like, oh, only 5 hours left. This is great. But Henry slept nonstop 12 hours, and he just put his head on the table, the food tray table there, and just conked out with a pillow.
Can't do that. No.
No, no.
But I can sleep. I can sleep on a plane. I don't have a problem sleeping on a plane.
Oh, but so going back to the first class thing.
Mm.
So 2 years in a row, I flew business class on Qatar, and then dude, the price went from $4,000, $4,500 to 10,000.
Oh yeah.
So not this trip, but last summer I went to go buy my flights, and I was like, cool, I'll just I'm gonna use my Amex points. No, like try saving up for 2 more years, and then you can do it. And it's across. It's on Emirates, and it's on Qatar, and it's on Delta, and they're all $9,000 to $11,000 now. I'm like, what? How did they? Why did the price double on these things?
I think Delta One. The only time I've seen prices go down was, so I bought our tickets. I got Melissa and I. We got excuse me, Delta Comfort. I'm sorry, yeah, Delta
Yeah.
Comfort. And then like she's got some, like her lower back. She's got like a little bit of sciatica acting up right now, and it really acts up um when she sits for a long time. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna. It was going to be $4,000 to upgrade us both to Comfort Select, which is Comfort Select is like domestic first class on international flights, and then Delta One is like the little pod thing that you lay flat. And I was like, all right, yeah, so I'm gonna do that. So I looked at it and I was like, it was like another $4,000. I was like, let me think about it, and I kind of forgot about it for like a week or two. Dude, I checked Monday night and it had gone down to $3,000.
Huh.
I could not enter my credit card information fast enough. I was like, oh, I hope it doesn't change. But yeah, we got good seats and all that stuff. So
Nice.
I'm stoked, man. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. Melissa, are you excited about going to Africa? Are you excited about the elephant hunt? She goes, I'm scared.
Ask her. Say, Cable wants to know if you want to go hunt blue wildebeest again.
What do you remember when the blue wildebeest charged us? Were you nervous? Did you think something was going to happen to us?
I was more scared on the Eland day.
She was more scared about the eland.
Oh.
You were with a tracker. I know. Well, the tracker driving the Land Cruiser down the mountain never took it out of first gear and blew the serpentine belt.
No, nice.
Yeah. So and he didn't speak English. So once we finally got the eland and back to the Land Cruiser and all that stuff, like the serpentine belt had busted, and so the engine overheated, and we had to like finagle another vehicle. It was a nightmare. It was a wild ass hunt. It was to say the least. So
yeah, but when you remember when it's all
Oh, you don't remember the easy
in the rear view mirror. Yeah.
You don't remember the easy stuff. You only remember the hard stuff.
For sure. Well, shifting gears, we're gonna talk about some stuff that's probably outside of my normal pay grade. But we're gonna talk dollars and cents, something we all care about, and something I've noticed I have a little bit more of since Trump has been back in the White House. Tariffs haven't destroyed the economy like the left-leaning talking heads said they would, and their political cohorts as well. But the stock market looks pretty good at the moment. I guess the question is, because this is front and center, and there are things about the big beautiful bill that I hate. Mike Lee is taking a lot of flack. We got to get the public land sell-off out of there.
Dude, that is just such a disgusting move on his part. Like that whole thing kind of grosses me out, because that to me is like the gross side of politics, where they're using
it's the fat. They try to just put it in there.
They're manipulating words and sentences that your average voter doesn't understand. And it's like, it's only 0.05%. It's only 0.5%. It's like, yeah, but for affordable housing, we have a housing shortage. You were for open borders, which is one of the things that led to us having a housing shortage. And now you want to sell off public lands to accommodate for that. But the land you've designated is in the middle of nowhere. Basically, he's trying to get like ski resorts, his buddies to get like ski resorts.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the whole thing. That's not going to happen. That won't stand. Like that's going to get killed.
See, and I get it. Like Utah should not be 80 whatever percent federally owned. It shouldn't be. And Texas shouldn't only be 2%. Like we don't have enough public land here in the second biggest landmass state in the country. But Utah has way too much. Okay, so well then what's the answer to the question? Well, I don't trust the government to stop selling it.
No.
So I think it just gives them carte blanche to keep doing it, and that's why I side with the Democrats on this. I'm like, no, you can't even sell 1 acre because I don't trust you to govern yourself. And so, and
You're
for
not
that reason,
siding
I
with
can't.
You're not siding with the Democrats on that. You're siding with
I know, but I mean, like I am siding with because all the Democrat hunters, all the Western guys, the BHA folks with their Tacomas, you know,
everyone opposes it.
I know. So it really is a bipartisan front that we're putting up. That
it does bother me that I am agreeing with BHA because I can't stand that organization.
Yeah, we're in the same.
I don't like
the same boat there.
I don't like anything about it.
And they are a Democrat organization, 100%.
They're run by like Obama people. But yeah, that's going to get killed. I don't foresee that going through. I think you've got too many high profile people. But the thing with Mike Lee and
they do need more housing though, and Utah doesn't need to be 80% federally owned, right? Like there's public land 5 miles from major metropolitan areas that is not really great habitat. That probably should be developed.
85% of all elected officials in the state of Utah, 85% of all government officials in the state of Utah are connected to real estate in some capacity. That's what they do out there.
And they don't have enough of it.
The LDS Church is the 4th largest landholder in the United States of America. They're the largest landholder in the state of Florida, where I live. So this is coming from the church. This is not a positive or negative. This is an observation of working in and around Mormons for 10 years. So Mormons, like you got to think about like they're fantastic salespeople, okay? Because they go on a mission, which they pay for themselves. So I think there's very little corruption in the Mormon church because the only people in the Mormon church that actually get paid are like the top 2 guys. Everything else is kind of voluntary, and they go on a mission. They pay for it themselves, and they go knock on a door, 200 doors, 200 doors a day. Howdy, partner. I'd like to tell you about Jesus Christ. Get off my lawn. Okay, buddy, have a good day. And they're off to the next house. So once they've committed to something, it's virtually impossible to move them off the X. And Mike Lee has it in his head that he's been trying this for a decade. He's not ever going to stop. He's never going to let go. He is, I don't remember his title in the church, but it's pretty substantial. And it's just, he's made up his mind that this is what they want to do, and they're not going to ever let up. So this year they sell a 0.5 percentage point. How many acres are they going to sell the next year and develop?
Right. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's carte blanche. Here, it's a blank check for them to continue to sell it. And that's why I'm like I just said, like there's land that should be developed, this federally owned. But I'm not going to let you do that because you will continue. It's just like you give the anti-hunters an inch. They're never satisfied. Okay, so you closed bear hunting in Washington State for the spring. Are you happy now? Well, then, okay, the next year they're like, now we're going to try to close it the fall season. They never stop.
Yeah,
and the government wouldn't stop selling the land. I promise you that.
Get rid of cougar hunting, and they get rid of mountain lion hunting with dogs. And then
next thing they're trying to protect coyotes.
Then they get rid of bear hunting with dogs.
Yeah,
and it's like a big circle, and they start working on the outside, and they slowly try to work their way into the center, and that's what they do. They are going they're going to try to, and like the problem is there is land owned by the federal government that probably is of no use to the public. It's of no use to the government. And yet I think that should be sold off. But you can't sell off like winter habitat, spring habitat. Like there's a lot that goes into it. And they're just trying to sell land to his donor class so they can develop it this is not coming from a place of like, we want to provide more housing for the citizens of Utah. No, that's not why you're doing this. You liar. You are lying when you say that. That's not why people make those types of decisions. You don't press and press and press to sell off federal lands for your entire political career. And he's really only the big press is Utah, Arizona, Nevada. Okay. And then it's going to go, they'll venture out once they'll start there and then they'll go to other places. It's not, once it starts, it's a self-looking ice cream cone. Once it starts, it's not going to stop.
Yeah. And they act like it's to help balance the deficit, which is, it's a drop in the bucket, Baker. It's
a cup of water in the ocean.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. You're going to sell this land. Now we have a balanced budget. No.
Yeah. No. Let's focus on what about the DOGE cuts? Let's talk about that. Let's get rid of those foreign abuse. And yeah, because this is just him pandering to the church and his donor class.
Well, I think it's political suicide for him.
Not really. He's safe as it gets in Utah. He's adored there. It is. I like Mike Lee. I've met him. I know him. I've sat in meetings with him multiple times. Super nice guy. I like his staff. They're great people. He's entertaining. He's smart as hell. He is a brilliant legal mind, like Supreme Court worthy with what's in his head regarding constitutional law.
He's like best buds with Ted Cruz. They're real friendly.
They both clerked at the Supreme Court at the same time. And like, yeah, they're both of those guys. And Amy Klobuchar, who I can't stand, but also another brilliant legal mind that is literally capable of being on the Supreme Court. If she were black, like Jackson, she would have gotten that Supreme Court seat over her. But she was the wrong skin color. But this is one of those things that, like, it's like you have that friend or that buddy that has that little character flaw that you just can't overlook. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, dude, I just can't, like, we can hang out, we can be friends, but at the back of my head, like, I'm always going to know that you have this character flaw, which is really disturbing to me.
Right.
So yeah, that's unfortunate, but I think that's going to get killed. I think it's going to get rolled up.
Okay, but also as part of the big beautiful bill on the positive, we aren't going to see taxes go up.
Which talking point are we on right now?
We're going on. Let's see. Well, you sent me the list of stuff that I don't understand.
You're starting at the top.
AIC,
yeah, okay, yeah. So the big beautiful with the big beautiful bill, it's not raising taxes on carried interest. Okay, so the thing with carried interest, they were trying to tax private equity, and which is bad because private equity, it's an ugly word in our country because when we think of private equity, we think of Wall Street fat cats. We honestly probably think about the guys that are trying to buy the land out in Utah. That's when they probably think of VC firms or private equity firms. But those guys really do serve a massive purpose because they invest a ton of money in mainstream America. Private equity investment is a much more common occurrence in communities around America than people realize. Like, for example, private equity industry employed over 13 million workers across the country in 2024. That is way beyond Wall Street. These are everyday Main Street businesses. So like when you have a company, so like Killcliff, for example, when we started, we went from like $0 to $16 million in 3 years. Okay. And when you take a beverage company or a consumable and you go into retail, it's super duper expensive. Okay. And we had to have a bunch of money to do that. So we could have gone to a bank and gotten a loan and had an interest payment. And that's all we would have had. We would have gotten money and a mortgage payment or an interest payment. But when we took money from private equity, we gave up some equity, but we gained expertise on our board in areas like corporate finance, legal, compliance, stuff like that.
Like Shark Tank.
Exactly. That's exactly what. Yeah. Great. And then also keep this in mind. Like during COVID, we were talking about how the airline industry, COVID changed everything. Private equity firms basically saved a lot of small businesses during COVID. Like imagine being a business during COVID and your customer base evaporates or just changes, and you got to figure out a way to sell your product. Private equity investors were investing in small businesses and getting them through COVID. So private equity gets a bad rap as like a dirty word, but that's just not the case at all. Like, it's kind of unfortunate. People view kind of bankers is like it's not a one size fits all. Like, they keep businesses open, they lend them cash, they invest in those companies, and then they understand balance sheets and accounting and stuff. And they do a lot to help them stay open. So there's a lot of Americans with jobs today because of private equity that stepped in to invest and support small businesses.
So that's good on that front, that you won't see the carried interest.
Yeah, so they were going to basically try to tax the
anyway.
carried interest
Yeah.
on private equity, which just didn't make any sense. And thank God Trump had the foresight to remove that, push to have that removed from the bill, which is a win.
Shifting gears a little bit here. Trump took a lot of heat, as well as a ton of praise, just depending on which side of the aisle you were on, for finding just absurd amounts of waste, fraud, and abuse within the federal government, with the DOGE cuts. And I think the biggest fish was USAID. And you saw things like, oh, we're paying for this trans play in Brazil, and there's
transgender vegan yoga studies in Burma.
Yeah, so all of ridiculous stuff like that. But there was some good stuff going on. The problem that I have with it, and I think a lot of Americans do, is that it seemed like just a slush fund for politicians to just launder money wherever they wanted to. And then once the money was allocated, okay, Zimbabwe, here's your $10 million. Okay, well, how did that benefit the people of Zimbabwe? Because I know whoever, and I'm just using Zimbabwe as an example.
Yeah.
I know that president or king or elected official or dictator just pocketed the money and distributed it to his buddies.
So here's the problem with that. So USAID, there's a chapter in the Special Forces Handbook that tells you how to use USAID for benefit and to influence foreign adversaries, foreign governments, foreign elected officials. The problem with the stuff that you were just talking about was none of that money was used for those silly things that those invoices were labeled with. So like $3 million for condoms in Gaza, Africa, not Gaza, Israel. That wasn't $3 million for condoms. That was $3 million used to go pay off a warlord or to hire a militia to go fight some other warlord, or just the stuff that was some Zoomer being cutesy and putting some weird little rider label what the money was for, because that's foreign aid and they can't put what the money's actually going for. Now, at USAID, there's a ton of fraud, waste, and abuse because you have a lot of elected officials and bureaucrats who get their nephews and nieces these cush jobs making $300,000 a year at these NGOs. So what USAID was designed for was foreign aid, which is super important because if we don't supply foreign aid, another country is going to. Case in point, Africa. China is kicking our butts on the ground over there in the mining and rare earth mineral areas. So we have to, if we don't provide, and I'm talking about aid for good. I'm not talking about this silly stuff where they're, just throwing money around like it's, they're throwing gold bars off the Titanic. But when foreign aid is used for good, that's what it's designed for. So for example, America first means showing up. If we don't lead, China will. China and Russia are filling every void that we leave empty. Beijing is buying influence in Latin America and Africa, while Russia backs dictators from Syria to Venezuela. If we retreat, they advance. Every canceled project, every pulled advisor, every defunded program is a seat at the table we just handed to our adversaries. International assistance is strategic. It's a strategic tool. It's not a handout. It's how we push back without firing a shot. So, like, if you look what's going on in the UK right now. Okay.
With the Muslims taking over.
Oh, dude, it's insane. We were there last June. Where was that? I don't even know where I was. I was
Really?
like, this is London. This is it. We can go now. Like, I've seen enough. It's 38% English now. They're the minority. So it's
a problem, dude. And we better be careful or we're going to be right there with them. Like, did you see who is primarying Eric Adams in New York City?
Momdi.
That dude has only been a citizen of this country for 7 years. He is pro LGBTQRS alphabet crowd, which is insane because Muslims throw them off the top roof of the building.
At first.
So that doesn't, yeah, he's a socialist. He wants to get rid of the NYPD, not just defund. He wants to disband it and just make New York a big sanctuary city, so the point is, like, we thought we were with Trump getting rid of wokeism. No, wokeism's alive and well. And this guy's probably going to beat Eric Adams when they face off, which I hope does not happen. But
I can't imagine that.
It's oil and water, dude. Christian or Western civilization and the Muslim civilization, they don't mix.
No, they don't. Western. Tell me a civilization where they do mix.
Yeah, and I'm not like, I have Muslim friends, but I'm not saying
no.
So I want to be very clear. I'm not. This isn't a racist thing, but it's.
Tell me a society that they intermingle with, and they
don't. They try to take it over.
There isn't a single one.
They try to outbreed you, and then they want to put in Sharia law and all this other crap, and they want you to become like their society, which is the opposite of the American dream. Like, come here and assimilate.
It's not. Yeah, it's no good at all. So I want to do a quote. General Gene Reinhardt in the Washington Times, he said, "International assistance isn't charity. It strengthens alliances, stabilizes key regions, and spreads American values." Retired General Anthony Zinni and retired Commander Laura Richardson in The Hill, America needs to play both offense and defense and to achieve peace through strength in order to outmaneuver adversaries like China, avoid expensive wars, and halt illegal drugs and extremists from affecting our homeland. If America stops its global leadership, our authoritarian adversaries will try and fill that vacuum, which is what they do. Congress is taking up a bill this week to cut billions in already approved funds. That is totally wrongheaded. It won't make a dent in the deficit, and it will make America less safe. So, like, going in with like an axe and cutting out all foreign aid, massive mistake. Huge problem. Can't do it. Shouldn't do it. Cut out the waste, fraud, and abuse. Absolutely, all day long. Totally support that. The problem is when you take a knife or an axe or a chainsaw to something when you need a scalpel. And you can't just go on what it says the money's used for, because they're not going to say, what was this $5 million for? It's not going to say in the notes section of that check to pay off a warlord in Mali to go fight another warlord. You know, like that. Our intelligence agencies and secret squirrels have to solve problems today that have consequences, but down the road, second, third, fourth order effects. But the issue is they have to solve the problem today, and just because it needs to be solved today, and we can deal with the consequences and solve that problem down the road. But we have things that we have to do now, because if we just walk away from it, China, Russia, Syria, whoever the other countries are, will come in and fill the void. India, someone's going to fill that void.
Mm-hmm. And they're going to have the influence there.
Absolutely. And then it's hard once those countries get entrenched, it's hard to root them out. It's virtually impossible. So, how long we've been going? An hour?
Yeah, just over.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I have to go to an appointment that I forgot about. I have a house I have to go look at. My wife just stormed out of the house.
No worries.
Are we good?
Yeah, we can be good.
All right. Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. I got to hop in the truck and run across town.
Sounds like a plan, buddy.
All right, thanks,
I appreciate
Cable.
it as well. Yep.
Have a
Good luck
one,
on your hunt. Adios.
Yeah.